Who wants to go?
Hey, Coach. Just with every season being as different as it is, how do you know at points when to coach, when to teach, and then when to manage to be able to get the best out of the group that you have under your tutelage?
Yeah. Just in general, like a game? Is that what you mean? Yeah. Generally speaking, what we've tried to do is the first half is theirs, certainly this season. And for 2 games, the first half hasn't been exactly what we needed. And so we have, good, hard half times. And today in particular, I felt like we had to coach every pass, every movement on defense. It's not our offense, as you can see. And so, as I told them afterwards, whatever we have to do, we're going to do. Because, it's not a formula to let a team hang around and believe that they can beat you. And maybe your offense isn't as good, and next thing you know, because you weren't playing as hard as you could play early, that maybe you don't win a game on the road. So you try to find that balance. I mean, if they're doing what you ask, then you let them go. If they're not, and they need our willing, then, we'll do what we have to do.
Kahari Jones, can you talk about what attested to you having to coach defense the second half?
Yeah. For whatever reason, I don't think players willfully aren't in the right spot. I just didn't want to wait until we watched film, the next day and show them where you weren't. And so we just felt like, if this is what it needs to be right now until we can get that where it's more innate to us, then we're going to do it. And so they responded. I think that's probably the most important thing is we responded. We still fouled too much in the third quarter. Fourth quarter got a little bit better, and I just want to be hard to play against. I mean, that's the name of the game. Be hard to play against. And second half we were. We held them to 29% in the second half. We got that field goal percentage down to 40. That's where we want to be. I mean, we're 167-8 or 168-7 since 2011. When you hold your opponent below 40%, that is the formula to winning. And so this team has been ahead on offense, and we're trying to catch up defensively.
So you feel like it was an early season? It's going to take time throughout the season to get it going defensively?
I'm sorry, is that we what?
I said you feel like it's going to take time throughout the season to get it in?
Yeah, it's obviously right now. Last season we knew in the first week about our defense. And so for much of training camp, not having McBride, not having Alana Smith, who was second team all defense, and Kayla McBride's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. We certainly understand that maybe has been a part of it, but that's we don't make excuses. Whoever's playing, we have an expectation, and so if we're a little bit behind on that side of it, and your offense can carry you for a little bit, okay. But we've got to be able to win grinded out games when our offense isn't there. And so hopefully we're going to continue to progress and when it's needed that our defense is going to win the game for us.
Hey, Coach, I had 2 questions for you. The first being that 2 games now, the players have said at halftime you've kind of gotten on them, made some adjustments, and you've kind of spoken to that too. I'm curious if there's anybody else in the locker room that's also been a voice, or if there's anybody that you want to see step up and be that voice.
The hard part for the coaches, we don't get in there until, it was such a long walk to our locker room that it was probably 9 minutes we got in. We show them video. So you literally have 3 or 4 minutes. I don't know what's happening before we get in, but I know it's a group that there's a lot of conversations. And we just showed, video is really valuable, schematically. Again, you think you're doing something, then you can kind of see on the video you're not. You're not as far off in help as we need you to be. What Dallas saw in the first half and what LA saw in the first half was just an open paint to drive into, which leads to fouling. Right, and that was a formula. That was what happened in Dallas. We closed it up. We got better. Same thing here. We got our shell principles that were in order, and so I'm quite certain that Fee and Courtney are the 2 voices. I'm quite certain that they were exchanging ideas, and those are generally the 2 voices. But they're all, they're all like Jess is a veteran, Lan's a veteran. They all know how to play, and they all accept hearing from one another.
I guess the fouling part dovetails into my second question, which is from a scouting perspective, what is it that makes Kelsey Plum so difficult to deal with, especially as it pertains to her drawing fouls?
Yeah, she's relentless. All right, she's probably the most conditioned athlete in the league. I don't know if there's anybody that works harder on her conditioning. And she's just relentless, right? And she's gotten shifty, and you know, you have to go. I always say this: when you have the level of gravity that she has at the three-point line, right, then you can do anything you want. And her explosion off the bounce and ability to change direction. I mean, that step back in front of their bench, got separation, probably pushed off a little bit, but she's good at it. You know, bounce back for a three, makes her a big time challenge to guard. So that's a relentless player, and she's hard to play against.
Coach, strong start, going back to Minneapolis. What is your biggest expectation for the group come the home opener tip-off?
Well, you know, valuing home games, starting with our home opener. I know our fans are excited to see us. They've had to wait, you know, a week, you know, and watch us on League Pass. And so to be able to kind of be there with our fans, you know, come correct, you know, from the first minute of the game, and you know, have a collective effort. That's what I'd like to see us do.
Coach, Coach Roberts over there was very complimentary of your group, and basically the cohesion that you guys have carried over the years as it pertains to cutting off the ball, moving without the ball, things like that. Fostering that identity and getting players to buy into that, how tough can that be at times?
If you've got the right, you know, if you draft the right way, you know, if you acquire the right way, it's not hard because it's innate to those players. It's why we drafted them. It's why we traded for them, et cetera, so they understand how to play. I'm equally a fan of Coach Roberts and the way that she has them playing. You know, she is the right coach for this team for sure. And you know, I suspect we're going to have some good battles through the years here.
Is there something that you see in your evaluation that lets you know those players? Like, is it just something they show you in the workouts?
No, you watch them play the game. You watch them play. I mean, you know, sometimes, you know, you're taking a less, you know, sexy player that people value because they score 25 points a game, but they took 25 shots to do it. You know, people that are willing to give themselves up and cut, you do that in the game. They don't come to us and we start having them do it, right? They do it anyway. You know, and Nafisa Collier came to us being a player that moved relentlessly in and out of screens, you know, setting back screens, slipping. It's innate to her. Gina will tell you that. And so, yeah, you see it when you're watching the players play.
Coach, you spoke of Fee, and I just was curious, has there been a discernible difference between how she's played pre-Unrivaled and after Unrivaled? Because Courtney said, yes, there has been a difference.
Did Courtney elaborate on that difference? Because I think when we first got them back, they struggled with having 2 more players on the court or 4 more players on the court. They really did. They really struggled with not having the space. And so, but I don't think, I think playing in the offseason is great, right? I think the conditioning that occurred, having to make quick decisions, you know, shorter court, but there's less rotation in 3-on-3. There's a far more element of having to help the helper, et cetera, that you just don't do in 3-on-3. So I don't know what angle, you know, Courtney was mentioning, but that's what I see from, you know, the difference in terms of what the players were doing in 3-on-3 and what they're doing now in the WNBA.
Yeah, Coach, so you've been talking now for a while about how the offense is ahead of the defense. You know, tonight again, the assist percentage was sky high.
Mm-hmm.
There was an amazing amount of people finding back cutters.
Yeah.
The ball was moving. I mean, I know that you don't want this team to win games because of this offense, and you talk about the defense, but just can you talk about the level at which this ball is moving at this point, really early in the season? And then my follow-up would be, what kind of person it takes, like in Courtney Williams' case, to shake off a 1-for-9 first half, where some of the balls didn't even look like they were going to hit the rim, and then come out and score 11 points in the third quarter.
Yeah. The first part of it is our identity. We believe in there's great buy-in. It's one thing for coaches to share, this is how we want to play, this is what we think is important. It's another to get the buy-in from the players. And so we've got great buy-in on how to be successful. They read well when there's 2 players in a screen, whether it's a ball screen, whether it's an off-ball screen. And so what you saw us doing, we thought they were susceptible to flare screening and slipping. We got some good opportunities there. And we just have a group they're veterans. They're veterans, and their cohesion and their willingness to give up of themselves, right, to go find an easy basket. So it's natural for them. With regard to Courtney, to just give you an idea what I'm dealing with, I shared with them post-game some of our superlatives, and Courtney obviously had a double-double. And when I began to read her stat line, I started with 5 for 19. She about fell off her chair, and she said, "Cheryl, don't be telling everybody that," and I had no idea. So she had no idea, Kent, that she was 1 of 9 and that it wasn't going well with her shooting. And so that's partly what makes her really good, is she's not dwelling on anything, like she's going to heat check and everything else. And that third quarter, like you said, was big. She's just supremely confident. And, the first couple shots, like you said, were, not good misses. They weren't close. And then and she kind of honed in and that two-man game with her and Fee is pretty tough.
Last question to Terry on Zoom.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
I wanted to ask you about Mr. Carlton came tonight, played all but handful of seconds, matched the career high in steals, matched the career high in defensive rebound. I know you can't just ask someone to step in and replace what Kayla McBride does as a perimeter defender, but just how you see Bridget helping the game tonight on the defensive side of the floor.
I mean, obviously, whoever BC's guarding, we know she's going to play the scheme like she's supposed to. She's really diligent in that way. The plays that she made in flying in for rebounds, and then her diving on the floor for loose balls, that's Bridget Carlton. And that's what we said to some of our new staff members that were with other teams prior to coming. You know that BC has value, but until you're up close and personal, you don't understand all the things that she does to help you win. This was a great example of that. You don't walk out of here with people having Bridget Carlton's name, top of mind. But from our standpoint, she was absolutely vital. If I could read to you guys a couple of things. Jess is the eighth Lynx to have 10 or more career double-doubles. 4 double-double off a bench are the most in Lynx history. So Jess was, and I know we didn't really talk much about Jess. Jess was big time. Jess was big time for us. And so the balance that we're getting, and I loved, this is what we're envisioning. Fee, Lan, right? Here comes Jess, to get Lan off the floor, maybe get Fee some minutes. And so, the 3 bigs were really, really good. All right, thanks, everybody.